On the new school of rappers and their performances. You can think of artists like Little Pump, Smoke Perp, even Little Uzi Vert to an extent. Little Uzi Vert's one of my favorite rappers of all time. And I'm just gonna kind of break down some better ways artists can like perform better. So I'm just gonna talk about 5 tips for the best performance for rappers just coming up. Because like I said earlier, so many upcoming rappers just look up to artists like Little Uzi Vert, the old Playboy Cardi, and just different artists that just solely uses playback when they're performing. You know what I mean? So I'm just gonna give some sauce on 5 tips for the best live performance in my personal opinion. So for the first one we're gonna talk about is just a set list. So a set list is a very important part about just being able to present yourself. Like you got to be very very specific with your set list, because a lot of rappers that are kind of coming up, they may just go to like a little event that someone maybe like rents out a bar or a hall, and I'm just gonna give some sauce on the set list. So the first thing you got to do is just really make a great first impression, whether that be energy, appearance, the way you're dressed, the way you just hold yourself, like your presence on stage. You know what I mean? Have good energy. Another one I want to talk about is don't perform your non popular songs. I think a lot of upcoming rappers must just think that we just know all your unreleased music. But in reality, for the most part, most people don't even know any of your music. So why perform these unreleased gems that you didn't release for a reason, or even upcoming tracks? You know what I mean? Drop something that people may have a chance to know, or if they hear the song and enjoy it, first thing they can do is go home, go on to Spotify or Apple Music, and find out what that song is called. I just don't think it's the best move early on, playing some unreleased music or music that you haven't dropped. You know what I mean? Number 3, what I want to talk about. If you're along your set, make a set list like a roller coaster. So like when you're making like a set list, make your set like a roller coaster. Like have some ups and downs. Like you don't want to have a full set where you just like 3 songs in a row that are just like super hype. Firstly, you're gonna burn yourself out. Secondly, you want to make it a bit unpredictable in the sense where people are kind of like, okay, like this guy kind of went into more of a melodic bag. Next, this guy goes in kind of like a hype bag. Instead of just doing like 3 songs, just all super hype, just super like rage driven. Have a bit of variety. Or for the consumer, they're gonna be just a little bit like, oh, whatever. He's just super predictable. So like when you're performing, I don't think you should be necessarily predictable, especially if you're like a younger, newer artist. Make it have emotions up and down, kind of like a wave, you know what I mean? Make it interesting. Make me on my toes. Sure, lots of energy is super great, but it's kind of hard to have lots of energy. Even if it's like a super heavy track, it's hard to have lots of energy for an artist or a song you've never listened to before. So make it a straight up roller coaster. Make it fun. And like I said before, fun doesn't just mean banger after banger. Think about that you're watching some random artist open up for your favorite rapper. You don't want it just to be a bunch of hype, random music. You want it to be a bit of a variety. Make them on their toes, second guessing. You know what I mean? Next, I want to mention is crowd control. Crowd control is very, very important, especially if you're a newer rapper, or just someone that's opening for a bigger rapper. Try your best to just really control the crowd, feel the crowd's energy, even if the crowd is not really feeling you. Just really bring up the energy the best way that you can. Give good eye contact to the crowd, feel your energy, and make sure you really feel yourself. Even if they don't feel you, make sure that you feel yourself, because it's so much easier to gravitate towards an artist or a performance if they're really feeling themselves, they really believe it. Because all you have to do is you have one performing on stage and make eye contact with a specific person. It could be whatever, just a random person or that direction. You start kind of feeding them energy, good energy, and they kind of reciprocate back. And then you can start having a little bit more control over the crowd. You know what I mean? Make everyone pay attention to you. Just don't be boring. You know what I mean? Don't just be on stage thinking that you're a little pump, everybody knowing your lyrics and stuff like that. No, it's not gonna be like that. Not at all. You know what I mean? Next is control the crowd with playing games and making each side of the crowd compete. For the first, one of my first rap shows I ever went to, I went to Pemberton in Vancouver. J. Cole was there, Ray Shremmerd, but someone that really, really impacted me to really enjoy music, especially watching it live, the live aspect, was Tyler the Creator. The way Tyler the Creator was able to control the crowd, you really felt his energy. He was dancing around, he had zero playback, he was rapping every single word. He had a beautiful set list. There were some mellow songs, get the crowd putting the lighters up. And he had some hype tracks, like Yonkers and stuff like that. I ain't got time. You know what I mean? And what really impacted me was the way he controlled the crowd. And this is what exactly he did. He told everybody in the crowd, get onto one knee. Because you were feeling him from the beginning, just how good the performance was and the vibes, and you're following along to his lyrics and his energy, doing everything perfectly. When he told you to put down one knee, I sure as hell put one knee down. As long, the same with maybe 15,000 other people. And then he was pretty much just telling us, once the beat drops, everybody get up. You know what I mean? Once that beat dropped, we're all on their knees and got up. It was such an amazing feeling. It was like we're like a plant growing, because we're down low and then getting back up. It was a beautiful sight. You know what I mean? And if you're in the more hype type of lane of music, like the Playboi Carti and stuff like that, just make sure you're just rocking out the crowd. And if that means that you're that the way that you recorded, you rap in so many different pockets where it's almost impossible to do it live, just make sure every damn ad-lib is super fire. Kind of like what Travis Scott does and Playboi Carti. Make it a whole nother story. Make your ad-libs a whole nother vocal chain in the sense of being live. So say you're yo, I'm chilling with Santa Cruz. And you could be cruise, you know what I mean? Just really just cruise that ad-lib and make it have its own personality. You know what I mean? Now for energy levels. Saving energy by not jumping around, but simply just bouncing your body instead. So I've seen a lot of artists just really wear and tear themselves out by physically jumping. And in reality, you could just be kind of bouncing, getting that energy going. You know what I mean? Make it an illusion. So you don't just I guess you could say cramp up or just lose your energy, if you know what I'm saying. Upward, rocking your feet instead of jumping. And like I also said earlier, don't put the two hyper song together so you don't die out and lose energy, and spread it out so you have more energy. You know what I mean? And then next I'm going to talk about is breath control. Breath control is super, super important, especially if you're rapping with no playback. And especially for these newer artists, I don't recommend rapping with playback. If you really want to go perform live when you have no fan base and you don't even have any business being live, unless you just want to have fun, and don't have a backing track, because nobody cares and nobody knows your music, right? So it's just perform the shit out of it with no backing vocals. Another thing is, don't muffle up the microphone. Say for an example, when you're like this, a lot of A lot of the mainstream rappers, like even the XXL, like Little Mosey was literally muffling his microphone with this. He's like, yeah, I'm chilling with my dog, chilling with my dogs, and it just sounded terrible. But he's obviously an established artist, so I guess it doesn't really matter. Like he's making multi millions. Like you know how much money a million is. You know what I mean? And another thing I wanted to mention: don't be holding the microphone super far away. You're not gonna be able to hear it on God. You know what I mean? Yeah, definitely breath control.